I trust keeperstop.com because of their honesty on goalkeeper equipment and apparel, and for the amazing training sessions that I've received since I was a young goalkeeper.
I just have a quick question for Eric, real quick. You know, from what the stories that I've heard in the past about how when you got De Gea, you learned Spanish. Is that a true story?
We signed him in the January of 2011. So he was brought over to England. The deal and everything was agreed. So then he went back to Atletico, and we continued on and obviously got on with the Premiership. But we knew he was coming. And I speak to people and say, how many departments do you think we used to get ready for David De Gea when he came in June? Because he was playing in the Euro Championship. So we knew he wasn't going to arrive with us until June 12th, 13th, when we knew then we were actually going to be, he's only going to have 2 weeks holiday. Then he's going to join us in America on the tour. And then obviously get to know everybody. So we had to make sure that when he hit the ground, we could help and prepare him. So bear in mind, he was 20 years of age when he came. So yeah, what I did was then I spent 4 or 5 months with a professor, the same professor that taught him English.
Wow.
He taught me, so I got to know very quickly social Spanish, but then also football Spanish, because that was the most important thing that was going to happen. Because we had to fast track him so quickly, because we only had 3 weeks with the American tour and returning before he made his actual English debut at Wembley Stadium against a little club called Manchester City. We had to get him ready for that. So we had people ready. So we literally had people like the professor. As soon as he hits the ground, he arrives. But we couldn't do that till he got to England, because he met us in America. So I was very fortunate. I had Patrice Evra, who could speak Spanish, French, English, superb. We also had 1 or 2 others within that could speak. So off the field, I was trying to build my relationship with him. But we also had to very, very quickly develop that relationship with the team and with the squad. So that's why, yes, it had to be done. But we also then, as soon as he came home, we had it ready. He couldn't drive a car. You had to say, right, you've got to pass your test to drive a car. You're going to learn a language. You've got to find your property. You're going to bring mum and dad. Right, no problem. So we had everything ready in place. We had the strength and conditioning, boom, ready. When does he hit the ground on that? So nutrition, boom, we got to hit the ground on that. So we had about 8 different departments all ready for when he hit the ground, partly in America, then ready for when he came into England. That's what professional clubs do.
Eric, Mike, before we move on, Eric, I have one more question. I mean, it's one of these memes that gets passed around everywhere. That it says that Sir Alex Ferguson only ever missed like 2 or 3 games in his career. One was for his son's marriage or like something like that, and then the other one was for David De Gea, to go watch David De Gea. Is that true?
Correct. One of his sons got married in South Africa, and then one of his the other time he was when we'd had a decision to make. So when I went into Manchester United 2008, it was threefold. How far can we take Edwin van der Sar in terms of his playing career? Have we got within the club natural successors, or do we have to go outside? So eventually, after 18 months, you know that when you're with Sir Alex, his time is of a premium. You've got to hit him in the eye. Facts and figures, not interested. It's about what he does. He was all about this. He will always say to coaches, you can give me all the stats, you can give me all that. Have you asked the player how he feels? Tell you what, I've seen him play. I've seen him in training. And he used to go greatly on that. So he'd come and in the end, he says, right, come on, Steele, what have you got down to? I said, I got down to 3 goalkeepers. And I said, I'm ready on my one. But I says, you've never spent big money on a young player that's a goalkeeper. I said, you need to come and see him play. Aye, oh, yeah. So we had a game. We were playing a cup game midweek, and we flew to Valencia, and it was Atletico Madrid at Valencia, some stadium. And that was it. We went there, flew there, private jet. Oh, I was loving it. Saskia, I was loving it. It was the time I spent with the great man, flying there.
Yeah, of course.
That was the valuable time. So when I got back, and I preached to all the coaches again, keep a diary. Keep a diary. And literally, I've got mine here. I never, ever go anywhere. You can have your tablets, you can have your computers, yeah. Keep a written diary. So when I got home, I wrote down some of the stuff he said and everything else, which was unbelievable. And he did. And after 62 minutes, Omar, he turned around to me and said, Steely, we got a goalkeeper. I went, wow. Was it? I said, we're going now? He says, no, we'll see the rest of the game. And he made a save in that game, and I always remember it, where he's got these unbelievable telescopic arms. You know, he's got size 11 gloves, telescopic arm, and this arm came from nowhere. And he did. And he just turned around. And he's always said, what I know about goalkeeping, that's why I pay a goalkeeping coach. And he's readily admitted his 3 best goalkeepers have all come from the advice. Peter Schmeichel was recommended by Alan Hodgkinson, his goalkeeping coach. Edwin van der Sar was recommended by Tony Colton, his goalkeeping coach. And De Gea, he allowed me to choose. So he's readily admitted the three best choices were not made by him, they were made by his coaches. So I tend to let outfield coaches know this when they try to tell you about recruitment for goalkeepers. Say, yeah, okay, I'm quite happy to learn what you want. What do you want from your goalkeeper? Yeah. What's your identity of your team? How do you want to play? And that was, that was it. He only missed 2 games, one for a wedding and one to see De Gea.
Nice.
Education.
So for you, I mean, how were you so confident? Was it because De Gea was so good that you were like, hey, I know Sir Alex Ferguson doesn't want cut through the BS. He wants the real facts. But I mean, I'm sure it can be a little intimidating with Sir Alex Ferguson bringing up a goalkeeper and you're so sure about it that he's missing a game to fly and watch him. Like, how were you so sure about it?
Well, basically, at the end of it, he was the one. When I asked and volunteered that I think it would be a great idea if he could go, I got the response, said, yeah, I will. I'm happy to do that. Because it was a lot of money to invest in a young goalkeeper. What I've always tried to preach to a lot of the coaches is that if you're an assistant coach or a goalkeeping coach, we're paid to give opinions. The managers, the head coaches, they make decisions. Now, that's why they get paid the big bucks. So what I then say to the coaches, a lot of the time I've been in rooms where you had coaches there and say, I don't agree with that. What you have to have is then an opinion as to why you don't agree. You have to have an opinion as to why you chose that player or that goalkeeper or that system of playing. That's the coaches that do exactly what you just said on the quote. You have to stand by the decisions you make, but make sure that when you're going to make a big decision, you've got to back that up. Now, as you well know, De Gea didn't start the best when he arrived at Manchester United. Was he once have a negative comment from our head coach? Not one. And he did various conversations with the player, with other players, and he never ever, because he's always believed in young players. So I think going back to what your quote said, it's right that if you're going to make decisions, you're going to make sure you back your decisions up, and it's got to be factual. And don't just say, yeah, I want him. You've got to say why. But ultimately, I'd already had the question asked. He wanted a young Edwin van der Sar. That's what we gave him, and he came in. I did not coach David De Gea on how in possession, how to clip a ball round through onto. He had all that. That was in his locker when he came in. We just had to give him the other bits and components that we knew would develop into the goalkeeper. He's nearly there now, 10 years at Manchester United. And I think it's whenever you're making them decisions, you have to say, right, I've got to back it. But like I said, whatever conversation you're having in your interaction with coaches, it's no good. It's no good just going and saying, I don't agree with that. You've got to be ready to say, well, why? Or I agree with that, but we could make it better if we got together and have an opinion on that. Does that help you?
No, 100%. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Got your video.